There's a pressing need for me to wrap this up quickly because I'm late for work. Well, because for booktube this tag is a rite of passage, I would like to join in on the fun. So I have the questions for this tag on my laptop here, but I'm gonna switch up the order a little bit and also not answer a couple of them just because I think they're not relevant to this channel, or me really. And without further ado, because I'm late for work, first question. Why did you start this channel? I knew I wanted to open a channel ever since I got my camera. I really like recording videos and keeping them for my personal memories, and I want to start, I guess, sharing them with the world. But that never happened. A few months back, I discovered booktube, and I thought, you know, this was something that could be fun. I was starting to get into reading again, and watching booktubers really motivated me to complete my reading challenge and just read more, really, in general. That's how this came about. When did you start reading? I started reading young, I believe. Back when I was in primary school, I remember my dad taking me and my sister to the bookstore almost every week, and that's how I started developing an interest in books. He wasn't always buying books for us. Just being in a bookstore was something I always looked forward to, and that sort of carries on until now. Also, my dad, now that I think about it, he's a very crucial figure in my reading career. My dad also introduced me to my first poetry book. It was an Indonesian poet, Khairil Anwar, and he also got me to read a lot of biographies. So I guess back then I started reading young, but it wasn't always like anything heavy. Also, I used to read mainly in Indonesian, and now I read mainly in English. Where do you read? Where do I read? I read in my bed, mostly. I like to sit in a cafe and carry a book with me. I try to do this more often, but you know, with work during the day and commitments on the weekend, it's not the easiest thing to schedule. Yeah, I try to do that because it's good for my health as well. What kind of books do you like to read? So I think you're gonna be seeing a lot of young adult on this channel, and maybe business books because I read them for work. A lot of nonfiction, which is what I actually mostly read. Yeah, I'm not really an experimental reader or anything. I like to stick to things I'm comfortable with, and I know I get triggered easily by certain topics, so I do shy away from them. I know that it doesn't make me less of a reader, but you're just gonna see less variations of things. What book or series got you into reading? My earliest memory of an English book was Alone on a Wide, Wide Sea. I think it's by Michael Morpurgo. I'm sorry, I think I just butchered his name. That was the first book I read after I moved overseas. Back then I wasn't used to reading in English. I was in junior high, and for English class we had a reading assignment. So I chose that book from the school library, and I remember the experience being very captivating, that I was like, oh, I need to read more books in English. Also as a way to practice the language. But the series that was the turning point for me, you know, it might have been Twilight. I really want to say Percy Jackson because it made me the woman I am today, but I think it was Twilight. I might have read Twilight before I read Percy Jackson. Yeah, but I would still go with Percy Jackson. What are some fun and unique things you can bring to booktube? There's a severe lack of Indonesian booktubers. There are a few, and they're great. They review mostly Indonesian books, but because I do read mostly in English, I think I want to be a different voice in that sense. So an Indonesian who lives in Indonesia but reads and reviews mostly English books. At the end of the day, I think I just want to be a productive and insightful voice to the community. And yeah, I think representation is important, and I don't see a lot of people like me on booktube. So yeah. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? Definitely recording the videos and editing, because I am lazy. Content wise, I know that I'm gonna be posting a lot of travel videos too, because I have a lot of them, I just never got around to editing them. For some video editing practice, I might just go ahead and use them and upload them on this channel. What are you most excited about for this channel? I mean, who doesn't love it when they recommend something to their friends and their friends actually take up on their recommendations? I think that's what I'm most excited about, because I'm creating this channel with my friends in mind, what they might like and what they might look for in a book. Quite a few people have asked me for book recs before, and I guess this is just another medium of doing that. So that's all for now, and yeah, like and subscribe or whatever they say.